Good evening, and welcome to the 24th edition of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. It's the 6th episode of Season 3. We are the show that compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing through the same quests with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Dennis. Welcome, everyone, to the show. Dennis, welcome back. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing lovely, Andrew. How are you?
It doesn't sound like you're doing lovely. You don't have to lie to everyone, buddy. It's okay. Dennis is feeling a little under the weather. So, Dennis, that's awesome. Thank you for hopping on the show. That's your dedication is beyond reproach.
Well, the threatening messages of me not showing up and how it would affect my paycheck all threaten me to
We're gonna dock your podcast pay.
That's right.
Gonna garnish your podcast wages.
Yeah, you'll be docked $10 for your failure to show up.
And his failure to show up, Sir Pat. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay. Sorry, Denny. Sorry to hear you're sick, but glad you were able to join us for at least some of the show.
And also Victor. Hi.
Hello. How's everybody?
Oh, that's awesome for you to join us this week, Victor, as our play-along participant. We've got a few quests we're going to try to get through this evening. Actually, a couple, not quite a few. We're working on Nuka World. Last week, we were doing some Tales of the Commonwealth quests, and we had Laura, who voices Susan on the Vault. I almost said Vault Tech Radio. On the old 90, so almost said old 97s too. I cannot spit it out. Vault 97. The Old World Radio mod also. You can pick up their show on the Xbox. I've been listening to their show while playing on the Xbox. It's pretty fun. I like listening to Susan while playing the character Susan, although it doesn't make sense because I have Travis with me, and Travis is still broadcasting from DC, and I have Susan with me, and sometimes I can just flip back and forth between the radio stations, and both DJs are out running around together listening to each other's radio stations.
That's a little nice synchronicity. You got Travis running with Susan, listening to Travis, listening to Susan. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I got into the Red Rocket as our home. I got into Red Rocket and just started to do some unloading and cure my rads and all that. And all of a sudden I see, I've never seen him do this before, but Travis bent over and picked up a laser rifle that was on the ground. I was like, oh, sweet, he finally picked up a useful weapon. And then he hopped into power armor, and I was like, holy fuck. Way to go, Travis. Attaboy. And then he went over and killed a rogue robot or something. That was very awesome.
Nice.
I had no idea to do that. So,
I've never seen him do that either. I know you can reverse pickpocket him. That's the typical way to get Travis tooled up.
I didn't even know that because my pickpocket I never concentrate on it, so it's never good enough to get away with that sort of thing. But I try dropping things in front of him, and sometimes he'll kick around them and they'll end up in his inventory, but I don't know how to get it to make him use things. I don't know if we can have that much control.
Well, the problem is the ammo, because he's got a shitty pipe weapon. So he's got 38 ammo, but if you drop
ammo for it too. That's
the thing. He's got he will use I think he will use the best weapon he's got that he has ammo for.
And it's not like in Skyrim where you can give your follower one arrow and they have an infinite amount of
you can when they're pseudo followers.
Yeah, that works. That does work.
Yeah, if he's not a real follower, he's just like a settler or provisioner you can give one ammo to, and that's infinite. And when Travis is in pseudo follower mode, he works the same way as a settler. So he doesn't have to be restocked.
Yeah, well, I'll give.
Matter of fact, I realize I'm talking about this, and I have 4 pickpocket with this stupid character. So why don't I try this? I should just shut up and try it.
You could try it on. Who do you don't have followers generally?
Well, I actually at this very moment I have Honest Dan. I decided I would play with Honest Dan, and then I haven't done Travis yet in this character. He's in Covenant.
Yeah, I've had with Honest Dan a little bit. I've tried to do that thing like I do with Billy the Ghoul Boy and Travis and others, where he will follow you. He fast traveled with me to other places, but eventually he kind of starts wandering back towards Covenant. What are your experiences so far with that, Pat?
Well, I just literally tonight I have him. So he will not fast travel with me. So I've discovered that because I was at Covenant. I got him to stand outside Covenant waiting on me.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go back to Sanctuary, where I'm basing this character because my assigned location is so shitty. So I'm just basing it boring old Sanctuary. So I was running back to Sanctuary to drop off some stuff and tool up my ammo and everything. He did not fast travel with me, so I'm actually going to try the weapon trick with. I'm going to grab a really nice. Maybe I'll get a handmade rifle. That'll be nice. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get a good gun and see if I can shove it into Dan's inventory because I have 4 pickpocket with this character, so I should use it.
That'll be great.
Oh, I'll give him Le Fusil Terrible. That'll be fun. That's what we'll do.
That's what Marla's been sporting. That one. That's a pretty good gun.
That is a wicked gun. Yeah, that's one of the best ones in here. I'll have to give him that. See if I can get him to use it.
Although I have to say I actually only started using it I don't know, last week when Andrew reminded me about it, and I realized I had it anyway. But before that I was using the I forget what it's called, but it's the shotgun that you don't have to, or the gun that you don't have to reload, but it was the shotgun. It just had an infinite, as long as you had shells in your inventory, you didn't have to reload it. So I had modded that one up, and it was good. It just
what is that?
Let's say the DPS on that is probably going to even out for the upfront damage of the terrible shotgun. Because you're getting more shots per,
right?
Even though you're doing a little less damage.
Yeah, you can really mow things down with it. And it was pretty high anyway. What's my let's see, the Fusil Terrible right now is at 298, and that's with plus 25% above that. So it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, I just came from a probably one of the most difficult battles I have done in Fallout 4, simply because of where Marla is level-wise right now. It was defending the castle. And there were let's see, I think 3 behemoths, 4 or 5 legendary mutant super warlords, and just a ton of others. It was just like it just seemed to never end. But that shotgun was my best buddy.
Defending the castle. I forgot that was a super mutant attack. I was thinking.
Well, it is in my game anyway. Yeah, I mean,
the defending the castle. That's not the main. Is that the main quest line thing?
Well, I can go back and we can discuss Marla's travels through Fallout 4 if you like at some point. But her trajectory right now is I didn't start the Minutemen until very, very late.
Yeah.
So
no shame in that. You've finally seen the light and you've come to the good side.
No, she is railroad all the way, friends, all the way.
Which is interesting. You mentioned we need to get into Marla and talk about her past and how she's gotten to where she's gotten. But I wanted to mention that I'm blown away by level 71 for you.
72.
I'm 72. That's amazing.
She just hit 72. Yeah.
That's I don't want to stereotype Victor within himself, but Victor generally likes to do lots of characters. Frequently starts new characters to play different angles and different stories and stuff. So usually I would remember you getting into the maybe 30s or 40s with a Roundtable character, and
yeah, usually I sometimes not even that high, and depending on Skyrim, I tend to do popcorn characters a lot because I've been playing it for so long. But
can you explain popcorn?
What's that?
Can you explain popcorn characters?
Oh, just like lots of them, lots of little pieces. They're tasty and salty, but they don't last very long. Ephemeral.
And they're generally family oriented a lot of the time. I like how you weave storylines together with different characters. That's always fun to do as well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've only had but one family, and all my characters in Fallout 4 have all been the same family. They're all Shermans.
And a lot of your characters in Skyrim were also related to each other.
Yeah, a lot of I have several families in Skyrim though, but all my Fallout 4 characters have been there. But I totally fell in love with Marla. So and it just happened that the role was really good, and all of the perks in the role just fit perfectly. So it just worked out really well. So I just stuck with her, and she's probably one of my favorite characters ever, next to Slythe Aaron and a couple of others.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Do you think it is the limitations of the role that has prevented you from proceeding further in level?
I don't know. It's just me.
This character specifically draws you for some reason?
No, I think it's just my just the way my brain works. Some things click and some things don't, and this one clicked. So
let's hear a little bit about Marla. You've told us you have sent in, I believe, 2, maybe 3 audio updates, but let's
just 2. And I thought, well, because then I was going to join in, and then I don't know, something happened and I couldn't. I think it was Jane's cat died that weekend or something, and then
too bad.
And then I don't know, and then things happened, and I just got lazy about making the recordings.
Take the opportunity now, and let's hear a little bit about Marla.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna get to my perk chart here. So, well, I mean, if anybody listened to the earlier episodes, you might remember that Marla is a twin. She has a sister who's also living in the Commonwealth, on the PC, actually. So Marla was a covert operative of unspecific provenance, and she had been visiting her sister, and knowing that things were coming to a head, she had arranged for her sister and her sister's husband and child for their positions in Vault 111, and at the same time had arranged for herself to be taking the place of the Vault Tech rep. And so when Marla came out of Vault 111, let's see, she started at, I think, 6 strength and 6 perception, 1 endurance, and then 4 straight across the board for the rest of them. And I'm not going to waste time going through all of her story, but I decided early on that she was going to do the railroad straight through, because I'd never done the railroad all the way through, and it's a really interesting way to play the game. And so let's see, what were her special was blacksmith for strength.
Can you just
I
briefly mention what you really have been enjoying about the railroad? It's been a long time since I've done much other than set up the
Well, it's always been my favorite faction, but I've never actually played through it because, well, for whatever reasons, either we were doing a round table and the character had been assigned something else, and she was assigned the railroad. She was also assigned just Dogmeat as a follower and Lone Wanderer as the charisma perk, and a partner, love interest, or whatever of none, and it fit perfectly with Marla's sort of lone wolf personality. So she travels with Dogmeat occasionally, but mostly travels alone.
Mm-hmm.
So the special perks kind of fit well with that too. The one that fit least probably was blacksmith, though she's used it some. Then what was the perception
to improve melee weapons?
Melee, it's mostly melee, yeah. So and then she got locksmith, lead belly, lone wanderer, hacker, which was it was fun because I think right after I did that role, it was not long after I had a conversation with Pat about hacker and my suckiness at terminals. And I thought, okay, well that's poetic. So, and then she got what was it? Gunslinger, I think, was the agility, and Bloody Mess for her luck perk, and all that worked out really well. And I did find hacker is a lot of fun, and I've gotten pretty good at it. What's that?
Does Bloody Mess apply to melee weapons at all, or is that just ballistic weapons?
You know, I think it applies.
Bloody Mess applies to everything. It's the one like universal.
Yeah.
It's a perk you can take with any build because it applies to any source of damage that you do, including unarmed or anything else.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a fun perk. It's in fact the only one in the luck column that I've actually taken. Eventually I started adding things. I added sneak, Mr. Sandman. I added a couple of points in medic. Gun nut, science. I boosted science up all the way.
For what purpose?
Mods, man.
You're
Weapon mods.
You were never tempted to mod around the hacking?
Mod around the hacking.
To get a mod to where you don't actually have to do the hacking minigame. You can just.
Does that exist? Oh,
No, mod for everything.
First of all, I mean, there's a 2 gig limit in Fallout 4 on the Xbox. So, and I'm playing. Maybe I should have mentioned that I'm playing this on Xbox.
That's also awesome.
And so, since I'm such a graphics dweeb, most of that 2 gigs was taken up with making the Commonwealth look better, and so various greenery mods and things like that, and then sim settlements and a few other things. So I wasn't. I've never been. I don't like. Well, that's not fair. I don't use generally mods like that. That I guess you could call that a cheat mod, maybe. I don't know. So no.
How dare you attack his honor, Dennis?
That has nothing to do with honor. I just usually don't use mods like that. She took Black Widow, one point in Black Widow early on, and that seemed to be effective for a while.
That's the opposite sex one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
is there a particular line of magazines you like to search for with Marla?
No, I'm my sort of play style. I'm not a completionist of any kind, so I did search out a few bobbleheads that I wanted for various special points, but other than that, I just take magazines as I come across them, and I don't really worry about it otherwise.
I know Pat was doing a collection.
I was doing the sneaks.
I've been tempted to do that. I mean, it's great when you come across the U.S. covert operations manuals or whatever stuff, things like that. But or what's the other one? Gun nut is
Guns and Bullets.
Guns and Bullets. Yeah, that's a good one for. But no, I don't really. Yeah, no.
There's a few magazines that I get just about every playthrough just because they jibe with a particular quest or particular thing that I enjoy doing. So I always like to go to the library and get the intelligence bobblehead. So I'll almost always collect overdue books and get the Massachusetts Surgical Journal that helps your crits that's in the Boston Library. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And Pat, remind me, I always get it backwards. If you want to max out all of your specials to 11, in which order do you collect the bobblehead?
No. Get yourself to a natural 10.
Natural 10
first. Natural 10 first. No. Natural 10 first.
Yeah.
Then, well, actually, this is the way to get yourself to a 12. Get to a natural 10 first. Get a minus from a debuff from drugs or hurt thirst or whatever. Go do your special book, and that will get you to 11. And then so you can get one stat to a natural 12 by going to 10 all the way, minus with a debuff, reading your special, and then getting the appropriate bobblehead. So you can get one stat to 12 and all the rest to 11.
But forgive me for asking this, what's the point?
Just because you can.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say, at least with the hacking mod, you can say, okay, well, I use the hacking mod because say Victor may not be good at figuring out the hacking game, but if you have
Yeah.
somebody with an
Well,
intelligence of 10, they
well,
should be able to accomplish it.
Now,
And
for
you're
some
talking about
for
real
some things
power
though,
game.
for like agility though, I mean agility, it just you'll just rack. If so, I'm a heavy
That's true,
VATS
yeah.
user,
So
so
agility and endurance and perception.
agility of
those
20
three.
actually has a point,
Yeah.
right? Unlike perception. Like perception is a good one. Like there's no reason to get perception above 10.
Not for VATS?
No, because you max out at 95 so easily anyway.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
You never go above 95 in VATS, and
Yeah.
you get that. You get that very, very easily, especially if you take a perk or something that one of the perks that helps your VATS.
Yeah, but you're right. High agility really helps when you're running away from things.
Yeah. So endurance and agility are ones that and for that matter, intelligence, because it'll boost your XP bonus, right?
Yeah.
So there's a few that there's at least a little bit of a point to going higher, than 10, but perception. Luck has a theoretical benefit, but I doubt it really matters practically.
Yeah.
What's the relationship with clothing that boosts perks if you're already at 10?
In Fallout 4, it'll go above 10.
It will.
It is not true for 3 or New Vegas.
Your clothes will stack above 10.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So right now, I don't know if I have anything with this with my more min-max characters. I get above 10 all the time with clothes. I think with this character, I've got an 11 strength thanks to some armor right now.
I know my screen, like my Pip-Boy says I have a perception of 15, but what
and you do.
What does that actually mean?
Well, that's the one that helps you the least, because if you took off all your special clothes and were at 10, you would probably not notice anything different on your bats.
But agility wise, like that,
agility, you get more AP,
more shots with
yeah.
That's been the one sort of weakness of Marla was her 1 point of endurance at the beginning, and that there were lots of deaths related to that. But so that's why I collected some of that armor I was talking to you about earlier, Pat.
Yeah.
Most of I was telling Pat, most of the armor I have is selected specifically because it gives points, various special points. So it may not be the best armor. I've sort of modded it up as far as I can, but they all give either +1 agility and perception or whatever. So almost every single piece has something plus.
Yeah,
+1.
I always prioritize special stats over stats.
Yeah,
that's I do too. Except the one exception for me is the whatever the name is, but the ones that let you run faster. I really like those. Just that extra, especially if you get one on both legs.
Yeah.
Right. So the running 20% faster is really nice.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I'll prioritize above stats, but otherwise I'll do the +1 stuff all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loaded an old character who has the zealot armor from the Children of Adam from Far Harbor, and if your radiation is really high, that armor is extremely OP too. It's crazy.
Plus, to be fair and full disclosure, and all the comments I made about hacker and cheat perks and all that other bullshit, I am using Armorsmith, so I'm able to wear more armor than you would in the vanilla game. So
that's what it is. Victor. I put on my faded visor on top of a cowboy hat, so I was wearing hats at once, and I was wondering what mod am I loading that. It's Armorsmith. I have that one loaded. It's
Armorsmith. There's one other, I forget what it's called, Universal Clothing something or other or whatever. There's 2 of them that allow you to stack, stuff over stuff that the vanilla game doesn't allow you to.
Helmets and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, or just to be able to wear leg and arm and chest pieces over whatever clothing you want, which is kind of nice,
just long johns and the vault suit.
Yeah, I hate that. I get it. I toss that vault suit as soon as I possibly can.
Victor, it's so funny. A lot of the stuff we remember in the Skyrim Roundtable, we both had like the sneaky archer elves.
Yeah.
Here we have, even though some of our stats are our starter stats are pretty different, we're actually building pretty similar characters, because I took hacker, I didn't take bloody mess, but we're taking a lot of the same perks as we're kind of going up the tree, and it's same thing with with the vault suit. I despise that.
Yeah. That's the
jump
first thing I
there
do is
as soon as I can.
Yeah, I run out to the bridge in Sanctuary Hills, toss the vault suit, and grab that whatever it is from the guy who's lying on the ground out there.
Yeah, that can be different things. It's often a drifter's outfit. The other one I do is I go kill the scavenger who's often wearing road leathers, because early game I like the road leathers just because you can put all the armor over them.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to sort of hijack the whole thing, but the with Marla, but the railroad is a lot of fun, and I actually I decided to sort of try to weave all the DLCs into that too, and Marla being having been a sort of an operative for hire by a shadowy organization, which turns out to be the Enclave in the long run. But so she has somewhat of a change of heart once she hits the wasteland Commonwealth, looking for her sister, and of course she has bad experiences with raiders, and that sort of informed her decisions related to Nuka World, which we can talk about later. But I decided to sort of weave that in and weave Far Harbor in and the railroad sides of Far Harbor, and that was a lot of fun. But I will say this: if anybody's ever done an exclusively railroad sort of storyline, it can be dicey. I had to actually look it up on some of the wikis, and you have to make exactly the right decisions, or it will revert to you'll make the wrong decision, you'll go back, and Desdemona will say, "Oh, sorry, you're screwed. Go see the Minutemen."
Yeah. Well, there was I don't know if it sounds like you didn't, Victor, because you said you just are playing this, but in the first 2 or 3 patches, the railroad was bugged, and there was in the railroad. I think, spoiler alert, you have to work with the Institute initially, right? They tell you to go cooperate with the Institute, and at some point you kind of have to make a choice of stick with the Institute.
Doesn't every faction quest line do that to some extent?
No, because for Minutemen you can just go into you have to go into the Institute with everyone, right. But only the railroad tells you to kind of quote unquote work with them.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
You have
to play with that.
So you have to play along with Father and all that stuff, and at some point you have to go warn Desdemona. And there was this the first 2 or 3 patches of the game, the warn Desdemona quest was bugged, and you could not warn Desdemona. So at that point, you either have to go with the Institute, or what I did was I think I killed her because I was so irritated. I shot her in the head, and then at that point you have to go talk to the Minutemen. So yeah.
Consider yourself warned. Bang.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. If you can fail, you can fail any of the 3 quests other than the Minutemen, but there's no way to fail the Minutemen because you can't. Preston's essential, and
right. Yeah.
I did see my favorite Twitch streamer piss off Preston by cannibalizing a Minuteman in front of Preston. So I've been tempted to try that just for grins, just to see if that always happens, but usually Preston, you can't piss him off, and he's essential, so you can always finish the game with the Minutemen.
But there's some fun. I enjoyed getting through it, and the last, sort of the last day, as it were, where essentially I'm sure we don't worry about spoilers anymore, but essentially you destroy both the Brotherhood of Steel and the Institute almost at least I did, on the same day. It's quite a harrowing experience, actually.
Yeah.
And then one thing I was not expecting, and this just happened, was it yesterday or today? I guess it's kind of a affecting event. The suicide of Patriot. I was really surprised by that, and kind of. It was very sad.
I'm right with you on that one. That was one of the few. Probably that's the only time in 4 that I had sort of an affecting moment. It was like that one
Yeah.
it was a real surprise too, because
Mhm. Yep.
you've done your thing and you're just kind of running around doing your other like side quests or whatever, and all of a sudden you go back there and that shit happens. Yeah.
I was just coming back because I'd taken out one of the L&L gang things, and and there he was, like, I was like, wow, holy shit. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to play through the railroad here pretty soon. I don't know if I've completed the game through the railroad before.
Yeah, no, they're all worth doing, because there's all I like, there's not like that sort of affecting, almost emotional moment necessarily in all of them, but there are surprises and sort of like interesting little twists in all of them that make them all worth a full playthrough.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my own sort of misplaced perception or not, but it seems like the interaction with NPCs post completion of Railroad is more relevant than some of the others. In other words, you get a lot more interesting, relevant conversation about stuff that has happened. Maybe it's just better overall in Fallout 4 than it is in Skyrim, for instance, where he kind of is like, oh yeah, yawn, you're the Dragonborn, big fucking deal. So but yeah, it seems.
That's a good thought. I don't know. Yeah, because all of them, you like, like if you go pro Institute, then there are Brotherhood remnants that you periodically have to fight. But I don't remember if there's anything kind of on point like that with the Institute.
Yeah. The same thing with Railroad. There's Brotherhood stuff out there. There's still Brotherhood patrols out there that I just killed one out. Oh, and that's that was a location that I had never found before. The abandoned shack out there in the middle of the glowing sea that has a whole
the basement
thing under it. Yeah.
And that's where one of the covert ops mags is. So
yep, exactly. Yeah. I just picked it up.
Cool power armor in there or something. I forget.
There's just, in mine, it was just T51. I think. I don't think it was anything special like X1, or maybe it was X1, but there were only 2 pieces of it on the frame. I don't remember.
I was going to ask you, Victor, did the addition of Far Harbor change anything in the railroad? Like, does Desdemona say anything about Dima? Does she have dialogue about the island or anything?
Well, there is one. I don't know if it's added by Far Harbor. Maybe it is. There's one member of the railroad in the railroad headquarters in the Commonwealth with whom you interact peripherally. Who wants information about the stuff going on up north, but then after that, all she says every time you see her is, I'll be getting up there soon, and that's it. So yeah, there's a small amount of you do tell Desdemona or one of them about Dima. I mean, you have a choice. You can tell them or not. I chose to tell them because I was playing purely Railroad.
I don't know why you wouldn't if you're purely Railroad.
And I've made it through most of the Far Harbor stuff and Dima's memories. I had forgotten how bloody awful that is. I hate that. With all due respect to the poor level designer who worked on it so hard on that, I'm sorry.
How much hate did that guy get? Do you think people were vindictive enough to actually personally look up which person?
I hope not, because clearly somebody worked hard on it.
On Twitter or something.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh my god, it's tedious.
That was weird, right?
Yeah,
it's so different from the whole rest of the game. It's interesting that they would put that in.
Yeah, so I have 2 or 3 or 4 or 2 or 3. I don't remember what I have, but anyway, it's enough to progress a little ways. So.
And really quickly, Victor, before we get into our quest for the evening, just for a little bit of a hint here, we'll be going through a magical kingdom and a world of refreshment from the Nuka World DLC. But Victor, we were speaking offline the other day, and not on the podcast, I mean, and you said that the Tales quests weren't particularly interesting to you from this session, and I just wanted to quickly get your overall impression of Tales from the Commonwealth, or Tales from the Commonwealth, and just your general feeling about that.
I would say that for the ones that I've done so far, and understand partly that I think in that conversation we were talking, I was some of my reaction to it is solely based on Marla's character. In other words, I walked into that Belcher's cave, and immediately, I don't know if it's Kyle's character or who says, it's just another dumbass scaver or something like that, and Marla said, well, fuck you, and killed everybody. But that was her character. It's just not, she's not going to take shit from some fuckers like that, so she just killed everybody. Of course, that negates several of the Tales quests, right? So, and then the You've Got Mail quest, that I hit a roadblock there because I refused to join the Brotherhood of Steel, and that's where one of the items you need. So, but that's okay, because later on, I think I mentioned to you later on, when I did have to work with the Brotherhood briefly as sort of a undercover thing for the railroad, I was able to, it was the fight with the Brotherhood of Steel where I gained access to the Cambridge police station by killing them all, I guess. And anyway, so I got in there and grabbed it, and then I completed the You've Got Mail quest. And then there's the other one that's at Croup Manor, I think. Anyway, overall, I would say that the Tales from the Commonwealth is, with all due respect to Mr. Takahashi, not nearly as good as interesting NPCs for Skyrim.
Interesting. I don't know that I've. I think I actually had interesting NPCs.
Interesting NPCs is just a tour de force, and I think it would be difficult to duplicate that. And are
the games structured differently so that it would be more difficult to do in Fallout for some reason?
I don't know. That's entirely possible. Yeah, I mean, it's just so it's so beautifully integrated into Skyrim, and also I think, to be fair, he's had a lot longer to work on it than he has Tales from the Commonwealth. So,
you think Tales will keep evolving?
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's posted something. I'm following him on Patreon now, and he's posted something recently, and I'll see if I can pull it up. I don't know if it's a new addition to Tales or if it's a new addition to something else. But he's I think he's pretty active on Patreon. I think there's some things you can see, without you can on Patreon you can follow or you can sponsor or whatever. I think there's some things you can see just with let's see, alternative medicine. Is that a separate mod?
I don't know.
Or is that I'm thinking maybe this is a new quest he's going to add to Tales. Alternative medicine is a new quest, 95% completed, he says. So I believe he's adding individual quests to Tales as he updates it.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing with Tales, not so much the quest, but I don't I haven't done interesting NPCs. Sounds like it's clearly something I need to look up on Skyrim, but I didn't find the NPCs to be all that interesting. No pun intended. In fact, Victor, I don't know what you thought of the one NPC who he added to the railroad, but I literally found her so annoying I had to kill her.
Yeah,
she won't shut up.
Yeah, she's annoying. I agree.
She won't shut up, and I could tolerate her talking, but then when she started forcing me into dialogues and interrupting me and stopping me for what I was trying to do by forcing me into that, that's kind of a pet peeve anyway, when you're forced into a dialogue. And she's just a sidebar NPC, and maybe she's got a quest, but I could never drag it out of her. And the other one I find kind of similarly annoying is there's a mopey female character in the doctor's office in Diamond City who, if you have high charisma, you can eventually get her to tell. I don't recall whether it's an abortion plot or a rape. It's something fairly serious to the character, but you really have to like drag it out of her, and I don't know if it really goes anywhere. But you have to. It's just the amount of effort you have to do just to even have the conversation with her is a little frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not too off the mark from some of the stuff in interesting NPCs. I think there's a lot of. I think and this is probably true for Tales from the Commonwealth as well. Some of them are just too are quite verbose.
Yeah.
And the conversations can go on and on and on and on. At least the ones in Skyrim can, and I don't notice that quite as much in Fallout, but. And some of them go on and on and on and on, and then go nowhere.
Yeah.
And so that's a little annoying, but it's also fun because they're sort of just interesting sort of side, and that's the whole point of interesting NPCs, right? It's not, but the thing about that is it's so huge and it's so integrated, you don't even notice them. I mean, and I think that's true for Tales as well. They're just there, and they do fit in beautifully. Even the annoying one in the railroad. I mean, there's annoying vanilla NPCs too.
That's true. To be fair.
Yeah, and so they fit in beautifully, and that's something he's extremely skilled at, and so. Anyway, but I guess long story short, to your original question, Andrew, I don't think it's quite as good as interesting NPCs.
Awesome. So let's get into our side quest for this evening then. Victor, do you have a preference of going over the Magical Kingdom or the World of Refreshment?
I am open to whatever, Andrew. It's your call.
Let's get into a Magical Kingdom then.
Oh man! Oh, sorry. just kidding.
So we're over in Nuka World. Where is this Magical Kingdom? Where do we have to go to launch this?
Oh, you're asking me. You got to go to a thing and do some stuff. Andrew, you know better to ask me that kind of question. This goes way back to years in roundtables for Skyrim.
Oh yes.
God.
So the magical the World of Refreshment is like to the sort of north. It's almost sort of due north of Fizztop. The Fizztop Grill, where at least that's where I base myself because.
Yeah, I'm running around now trying to find the stupid thing. That's I'm sorry. I'm there, and I was hoping to be prepared, and I screwed up. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's never where if I close my eyes and picture the map of Nuka World, it's not where I think it is in my mind. For some reason, I always think it's further east, but it's more north than I think for some reason.
Yeah, because the park area is kind of right in the center of the Nuka World map, and there's sort of the outlying areas, the Hobologists and the Red Rocket and all that other stuff. And Fizz. I don't know about you guys. I base myself at Fizztop because even though there's not a proper workbench there, there's at least there's one of everything, so you can do all the shit you need to do.
Yeah, that's where I have as well. Yeah.
I killed all the raiders early, so I got access to the Red Rock.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah, we have to talk about that. Maybe not tonight, but I would like to explore that more because that's something that I intend to be doing because that fits in with Marla's whole thing. She's not in Nuka World to do anything but eradicate the world. But she's certainly, being the covert operative that she is, wanted to work with them for a while undercover and see what was going on. So yeah. But yeah, no, I'm looking at the Kitty Kingdom. That's what we're talking about, right? It's sort of off to the east of Fizztop.
Mm-hmm.
And no, north and slightly east. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but I mean, don't you get all of these all at once, right? I mean, when you talk to what's his name there, he assigns all of them to you.
It's like a big umbrella quest called, was it the Grand Tour or
Grand Tour? Yeah.
And you have to visit each of the 5 parks.
So now, have you? In order to mostly avoid spoilers, etc., I have not really been listening to previous episodes. Have you? These are the first 2 of these that you've done.
Yes, we have not done
all right.
any other parts of the park. Have you done what have you done? Have you done the Galactic?
I have now done all of them. So,
which ones have you done?
All of them.
Oh, you have done all of them.
Yeah. I've finished all of them. A couple nights ago, I think I finished.
You have a favorite section of the park?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Probably the same as everybody's, right? Any good geek would be the Galactic Zone.
I'm a big fan. Yeah. I really like the Galactic Zone. The tunnels, the time warp tunnels or whatever.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah,
those are so fun, and just the kitschiness of all the rockets and all that stuff.
Yep, and the Star Cores and everything else. Yeah,
Andrew loves the Star Cores.
I've actually.
They're almost the Stones of Baranzaya of Fallout 4, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the condensed version. Pat always says how easy they are in comparison, but I think they're equally as annoying. They're just in a tighter.
And my basis for that is that if assuming in each case that you get a walkthrough that sort of tells you where they are.
Yeah.
For the Star Cores, they are basically all but I think maybe 3 of them are in the Galactic Zone locations, and so once you've cleared those out, you can just blitz through those incredibly fast and grab all the Star Cores. And then there's one in the very end of the game, and there's a couple other places. But you can do it in like an hour if you cleaned out those locations. Yeah. Whereas for the Baranzaya stones, think about they're in 24 different locations, usually at the end of a dungeon. Now, some are in a Jarl's bedroom, and those are pretty easy. But in some cases, you have to sneak, right? So you got to take time to sneak. And I think there's no comparison in terms of just if you just want to burn through that and get it done as fast as possible. I think there's no comparison between the two.
No, you're right. You're right. It's a false comparison, but it has similar overtones.
Yeah, clearly, I absolutely agree.
I was a little dismayed when I found. I think I looked on one of the wikis after I had collected. Well, now there is a. The only reason to get all of them is to grab that set of armor. So the main reason to grab them in we're not even talking about the Galactic Zone tonight. So let's not. I won't even go there. Magical Kingdom.
No, you don't have to kill your thought. You can totally complete your thought if you like. But Shalene is actually in the YouTube chat, and she says the Star Cores are more equivalent to the steel ingots of Fallout 3's The Pit. Pat, does that make sense to you? Or Victor, I have not played The Pit.
I
have no frame of reference there, I'm afraid.
Pat, what do you think?
The Pit is so again, once again, this is an area where, in my opinion, New Vegas is superior to 3. I think overall the New Vegas DLC are better. The Pit is I think 3 has 5 DLC, and I want to say
wow, that is a ton of DLC.
Yeah. No, and I want to say I think there might be like 100 iron ingots or something. There's a lot, and there might be an achievement. I don't know that there's an in-game reward for all those. There is something. I forget exactly. I mean, Shalene's in chat. Maybe she'll remember. But I don't remember, because here is as Victor said, Star Cores, you get 35 of them, you get the special XO1 that you'll never get anywhere else, blah, blah, blah. I think for the Pit, if you get the iron ingots, you get something in game, but I don't think it's maybe quite as special as the XO1. Yeah, Shalene says, it's 100 of the ingots. Now, Andrew, this would have been a perfect question for for King of the Bunker Hill. We ruined a good question.
No, you didn't ruin a question. If you notice, Pat, sometimes those trivia questions come directly from previous shows. So if you've listened to the shows, you actually get
ooh.
I just made
hints for future participants. Shalene says you actually do get some good shit if you turn in all 100. So so in that regard, it is probably pretty similar. I think those 100 ingots are harder than the Star Cores, because the Star Cores, think about it, they're kind of glowing and blinking, and so once you know what to look for, they're pretty obvious.
Not all of them, though. There's a couple. The ones that are outside of Nuka World, there's 2 or 3 of them that are elsewhere, and those are not plugged in or to anything anywhere. They're just lying around.
Good point. Yeah.
Are there only 2 or 3 that aren't in the galactic?
I think there's 5 total that are not in the galactic zone, and
one of which is in the power plant itself, right?
Yep.
Right, and then there's 3 of them that are outside of Nuka World, I believe. I found, I think, 1 or 2 of those now, just purely by accident, because I sort of decided not to look at the locations, because I don't really care about the X1 armor anyway. So
I've stumbled upon a few already outside of Nuka World, but I have not picked them up. I don't know why. I'm just like I'm not touching them yet. I want to go back through and collect them all at once. I think for some, I don't know why I want to do it that way, but I decided that I'm going to try to do it that way for.
No touching.
But I made note of where it was. I believe took a screen cap.
Well, that's a cool idea.
So we're stumbling up to the magical kingdom, you guys, and as soon as I showed up there, I rolled up and Adam Plude style remembered this time my lovely hazmat suit. Thank goodness. I don't know if it actually helped against this weird. This might have actually even gone through the hazmat suit, but you have this green crazy mist coming out of everything. There's like these posts with sprayers and stuff coming up out of the ground. That's the first obvious thing I notice as we approach into Kitty World. And again, they do someone taunting you over the loudspeaker. Did you guys? I mean, I assume that happens.
Oswald, right?
Yeah. But it's just like when you step into the stupid gauntlet and the guy starts chiding you over and over again.
I found Oswald less annoying than Andrew WK, whatever the character's name is.
I wish it was. That's hilarious.
No, it is Andrew WK.
Are you serious?
From where?
The DJ. I'm pretty sure that's. I mean, it's a musician that I don't follow. I'm pretty sure it is Andrew WK.
Is it really him? That's so funny.
Let me confirm that. It's Andrew WK he's Red Eye. So the person who taunts you. See, the first time I did the gauntlet, I thought it was Gage. I didn't tell the voices apart.
Oh, okay.
The person taunting you is Red Eye, the DJ, and the DJ is Andrew WK.
Yeah.
Okay, so DJ meaning that you'd have to listen to the radio in order to hear that.
Correct.
I never listened to the damn radio.
He was in an eponymous band. It's just Andrew WK, and they just did like party anthems. His number 1 hit was just called "Party, Party, Party."
Oh, wait a minute. Are we mixing Real World and Nuka World here? Because
Andrew WK is a real world singer. Who was the actor who did the voice of Red Eye, the Fallout 4
okay.
DJ in Nuka World.
Now I'm following you.
And it was a bit of a reveal because it wasn't publicized before Nuka World, and it was announced like a couple days after Nuka World drop, and it was like a brief little Twitter sphere splash of that's Andrew WK. And people people actually cared.
Interesting.
Who's no, never mind. I was looking up the wrong thing. Sorry here. So Pat, let's go through Magical Kingdom here.
Yeah. So and we sort of teased this last week. For having been through it before and knowing how hideous that radiation stuff was, I specifically took my suit of T51F and turned it lead plated, so it gives 1600 rad resistance or something crazy. And I added a jetpack, and any of the lead power armor will do that if you make it leaded. And I added a jetpack. And this is the one time I'm actually saving the mods. Usually I just throw the mods at a bench and forget about them, but I'm actually saving the lead mods, and because I'm switching back and forth between lead and whatever other thing. Because normally I don't want leaded. I want something that does agility or whatever. Right. So I also did a a jetpack, because there's a few places where it's handy to be able to jump over a ledge, or jump over a fence or something to get to the ghouls. So with that, and then I babbled about this before, but my favorite ghoul slaying weapon is the deliverer. So it's absolutely perfect for ghouls, because they swarm you, but you can get a shitload of shots off, even if with only kind of moderate agility. I can get off I can put off more VAT shots than I have in a clip. So I have the full clip, so I have 16. So I can get off more than 16 shots with one full VATS, even with only like 6. Yeah, and it's perfect for ghouls, because you can take them out with a couple of shots. So with one clip, you can take out between 6 and 10 ghouls.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and with Mr. Sandman and Sneak and various other perks, you can do like 4x, 5x, or whatever.
Yeah. So I think that I've got my Sneak up to 4 and have all the covert op mags. So my Sneak is pretty good with this character, and so I really had no trouble at all with this, even though just because I'm metagaming here, because I know exactly what to do and this stuff, and so I snuck around plinking things off, and I went around to the. So what I did was I sort of, my strategy was to clear out sort of the outside part, the arcade piece where there's a lot of ghouls just kind of like lurking in the muck. So I went around there and killed as many of them as I could. Then I snuck around to the back where the cars on the railroad that will knock you over if you're not careful.
Got killed by those.
Yeah, I got killed by those so many times, and I only got killed by them once this time. So I went around there and then went in the back entrance. And again, metagaming here, I'd gotten my character up to master level lockpick before I ever went into Nuka World. Just because I knew that, Andrew, we talked about in the Gauntlet episode, that if you have master lockpick, there's several places where your Gauntlet becomes much, much easier.
Yes, sir.
And same thing here. I was able to all the tunnels and everything. I was able to just go straight into those.
Well, will those cars on tracks one-shot you in survival mode? I didn't actually go in there.
They will, yeah.
It depends on how much armor you have. I just got hit by one, and I didn't get one-shotted. But yes, when I was doing, I just got good and whacked there. But when I was doing this initially, definitely I got killed several times by one shots with those cars. So just now she got hit, and it took 2/3 of her health away.
When you approach the area, the game launches a magical kingdom, and you're giving 3 quests. You're either for 3 steps into the quest to search the theater, search the fun house, and search the tunnels.
The castle.
The theater is in the castle.
It is what's his name? Is King Nuka's castle or whatever is the theater.
Yeah. The theater.
And Andrew, I just the hangout crapped out of me. I had to exit. It's a little buggy tonight. That was the second time I had to do that.
I don't know.
But anyway, just FYI, in case you lose me, that's why.
Oh, please. So we're launched off here with 3 quests to search the theater, the fun house, and the tunnels. The fun house has sort of a House of Mirrors maze, which is really fun, with a few ghouls in there. Did we even discuss the painted ghouls?
We didn't. No.
Why are they painted? What's up with the painted everything?
It's Oswald. He's done it to make him seem extra freaky and freak out the raiders and other people who try to come in the Nuka.
Well, they're part of the troupe. They're part of the original troupe.
Yeah.
That's why they're painted. They're the clowns or whatever from the original buskers or whatever they were.
There were a lot of clowns running around that section.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. These were all the employees at the park, and they had their makeup on.
Okay, well, no. I mean, it is. I mean, that's kind of the inspiration, but I mean, they specifically. You find paint, and there's some dialogue where he describes the fact that he's keeping them painted. So it is a specific thing he's done. Yeah. Post. They didn't turn into ghouls with all that paint all over them. He has specifically painted the ghouls.
it looks like the pack did it. You know what I mean? Like how the pack paint everything like bright fluorescent.
Yeah,
pink.
yeah.
It's just like Oswald, or I guess he's buying his paint from the pack. Is his source.
Oh yeah, Andrew, you mentioned the fun house. That's another reason I went with the jetpack armor, because it makes the rotating room in the fun house that much a lot easier.
Oh yeah,
because you can kind of, I mean, there's not a lot of headroom there, so you can't do like a complete lift off, but you can kind of use the jetpack to sort of bounce above the spinning room and make that room substantially easier.
That's really fun. I enjoyed that room. The House of Mirrors, and there's the spinning room with the the sort of the spiral paint on the floor to make it do the hypnotic, the typical hypnotic pattern. You know what I mean?
And there's the MC Escher room. It's
yeah.
It was all really kind of fun. I like the what else? I'm missing a room or two, right? There was the
mirrors leads into the. Is it the? It's the circular the tube room with the green.
The green tubes, yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's the green tubes. Oh, there's the rotating bottles where you get dumped into the water if you don't make the jump.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That one's in there, and there's the Escher type room. That let's see, the Escher room leads you to the spinning room, which leads you.
That one. That's the one that leads you out, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Pick the right door.
Yeah.
And then you get out.
Man, they love to do this pick the right door thing, don't they?
Yeah.
So, well. Okay, I'll wait until you guys keep going.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just wondering about the sort of denouement of the whole thing and how everybody played it. I'm just curious.
So I'd save that one for last, so I didn't have to because I knew it would play out in the theater. So I did the tunnels first and the fun house second, and then did the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can do them in any order?
Yeah, you can do the three areas in whatever order you choose. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess that didn't occur.
But I think I guess if you go to the castle or the theater first, I don't know that you get the final confrontation. Because remember in the castle you confront him on the lower, or the theater you confront him on the lower level, and then he retreats upstairs. So I think what happens is if you went to the castle first, he would do that lower level business. He would go upstairs and the elevator wouldn't work. You'd have to go do the other two areas for the elevator to take you upstairs for the final confrontation.
Okay, I guess because that's I did the theater first, but then I did something else. So that changed things a bit. Anyway.
Yeah.
So did everybody else do that too?
I went through the tunnels. The entrance to the tunnels is on the very, very southern edge of the Kitty Kingdom portion of the local map, if that makes sense. And that's where you can hear like Oswald start taunting you. And I hopped down in through the tunnels.
You didn't go in through where the car tracks are, because there's an entrance there too, right?
No, I have in previous playthroughs, but I didn't do that this time. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I did that one. The tracks. Yeah.
The tunnels, typically have those like broken through walls where you can cross through into normal rooms, and then there's more broken walls where you can cross back into more pipes and stuff. So you have to weave through and around and back upon yourself again down there a little bit. Not quite as bad as Fallout 3. I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 3. Man, fuck the metro tunnels.
Oh yeah. Those are no fun. Yeah.
Jesus. So you have to wind around down there a little bit. But there was that big pool of toxic waste I had to wade through. But I had my my hazmat suit on. I was fine with that. Is there a way to cross that without like having to wade through it? Did I miss the puzzle?
Jetpack.
I don't remember how I went in and out of there.
You can. I mean, that
just catwalk, right away.
Well, the catwalk takes you around. I think you can. You can go around.
Yeah, in order to get into that last, I was just down in there a minute ago. It seemed to me the only way to get into that last room there is to sort of jump through the goo. Yeah. But it doesn't, it's only a couple of hops.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not nothing too damaging. It's only just a little bit of toxic waste.
Are you playing survival, Victor?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I avoid Radaway in survival just because it hammers your immunity so bad. I prefer a refreshing beverage.
All right, I'm playing survival, but I'm using a modification mod. I guess that I totally forgot I was doing that, and that does qualify.
Cheat.
With the cheat, if you call it that. Although I find that whole survival, sleep to save bullshit completely crap. And the way they've implemented diseases, it's not nearly as good as what modders have done in Skyrim. So I've kind of nerfed that. So yes, I'm playing survival, but I'm only the only parts of survival that are active really are the slow regeneration of with health and so on. And I do have a save an auto save thing, but it only saves two iterations. So if you screw up, you're still totally screwed. It doesn't stack a bunch of saves like you can on PC or even in a regular non-survival game on Xbox.
Do you remember which mod you're using that does that?
It's called survival options or something like that. It has a whole bunch of things you can turn on.
Okay, because I'm using that one too, but I did, maybe I picked the save option, and it gives you the little pill, and I can save as many as I want from the little pill. So I'm not doing auto save. I'm doing manual saves with the pill.
Well, so am I, but I only let me look here quickly.
I just recently adjusted some settings in that, Pat. You can also go into the settings and adjust auto saves and how frequent.
Yeah, right. So
maybe that's what it is, because I have 3. I have actually 4 saves. I'm looking at my load screen. I have my original Vault 111, 18 minutes in. and then 3 saves that are within a few minutes of each other, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because
you're tracing it to be
well, wait a minute though, Victor. On that though, if you delete the oldest one of those, does another older one pop into the queue? I mean, do you have more? I try sometime experiment with that, because I want to say maybe there are more that in physically on your hard drive, but it only shows you 3 at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that may be then just simply the Xbox interface that I'm not used to. So
don't delete anything that you really need, but test that sometime, because I don't have a regular vanilla survival game going currently on Xbox, but I want to say that it looked the same way, but you actually have more.
Do you? Okay, well that may be it then.
So I'm doing this. It sounds like we're all doing similar. I have survival, but I have fast travel and manual save enabled. But otherwise, I'm doing vanilla. I'm doing vanilla. Vanilla survival.
No, the only thing I added to that was I turned off the diseases, because I think they're stupid.
Well, I don't. It feels to me like I'm getting more diseases with this playthrough than I did in my regular survival playthrough. It's probably my imagination, and it may be because now that I think about it, it may be because I'm fast traveling, and so I'm doing more distance and more actions in less real time. Where as was for in vanilla survival, I have to it might take me an hour to travel somewhere, and so I won't pick up the disease in an hour, but because I'm fast traveling, I can get there instantly, and I pick up a disease along the way. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I tend to not to fast travel much anyway, so it's that's not an issue. I do fast travel early on when I start using power armor, because otherwise you waste your fusion cores really fast. So I'll fast travel a little bit for that. And then when you're doing when you have a lot of settlements, and all of a sudden you have to defend a settlement somewhere, and it's halfway across or all the way across the Commonwealth, that's when you really kind of have to fast travel in order to sort of.
I just usually let those fuckers fend for themselves.
Well, if your settlement is well enough built up, then you can do that. But
well, what I generally do is I have 1 to 3 settlements that I really tool up and put like 50 defense and blah blah blah, and those usually take care of themselves. And then my other ones I just don't worry about at all.
Yeah, screw them.
Yeah. Those little. I'm giving them food and a place to sleep. They should take care of their own defense.
Yeah.
Great what is given to them.
So anyway, so with this magical kingdom thing, I sort of, because I hadn't read anything about Nuka World at all, so I tried to play it without reading any of the wikis, and but now it's been long enough. This one I did a while ago, and I can't remember her name. There's a character that you learn about if you're reading terminals and listening, I think, to some holotapes and stuff like that. His girlfriend.
Oh, Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel, right. Okay. So have you guys followed that part of the quest?
Let's see if I can remember. It's been a year, right? Rachel went out to try to find.
She goes to Bradburton. She goes to the town of Bradburton to try to find the cure, right?
For ghoulism or whatever, right?
Right.
He thinks that it's an illness, not a affliction or whatever, right? Not caused by radiation. He thinks it's a curable, a curable condition, basically. Yeah. And so Rachel has gone out to. I couldn't tell if this was just something that she told him to get away from him, or if this was actually legit.
No. So I said, well,
cheek a little bit.
Yeah. So interesting. So I thought, oh, well, I'm going to go look for Rachel. So I went and looked for her.
Yeah.
And you find her.
What did you find?
You find her in Bradburton, and you find her final holotape, and in which she says, "I'm so sorry, I can't find it. There is no cure. I love you, Oswald, etc., etc." And so, if you bring that back to him, you can convince him. You don't have to kill him, and you convince him to leave and take the rest of the ghouls with him. And he gives you a couple of cool weapons.
Oh, nice! Do you get his clothing?
Sword. You get the sword and the top hat.
The top hat, okay.
Yeah.
But you don't get his suit.
No, I don't think you get the suit.
Okay.
But there's several quest rewards for that.
Yeah,
it's kind of a sad story. It's got a bittersweet kind of story, because he's not a bad guy.
Yeah. It's just the ghouls just don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
But he also claims, and I couldn't tell if this was tongue in cheek or not either, but he also claims that he was granted the actual gift of magic when the bombs fell. Like he was just poof. Now he actually has.
He has some. I mean, he has like he's like an intelligent glowing one, right? Because he could, he can. So he can like heal his ghouls.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like a non-feral glowing one in that regard.
Okay,
and
glowing ones can heal their ghouls. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then he does tell. It's not Victor. Do you played it more? I kind of blew through this pretty quickly because I'd done the in-depth previously. So I don't believe there's an explanation for how he can like teleport.
Yeah, he can transaporate or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they leave that I think they leave that to be a mystery.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing of like, well, maybe he's not crazy. Maybe he clearly has the glowing one type powers, and maybe he's not crazy that he has something else going for him.
Yeah.
He's just maybe he's one of those time travelers, so he's just going really quickly, but it looks like he's evaporating to us. But the first time you run into Oswald, at least for me, was down in the sewers. He was talking to a glowing one or a ghoul.
It was one of his painted ghouls.
One of his painted ghouls down there in the tunnels. And he's having some sort of conversation with him, but I wandered in too slowly and I couldn't actually hear what he was saying. Is there anything remarkable about the conversation that was occurring down in the... Because he just kind of disappears right after, and then the ghoul turns and starts to want to attack you. Did
I
any
don't remember.
catch?
It kind of explains what he's doing.
Maybe.
Like he says stuff like, I mean, he's talking to the ghoul as though the ghoul understands. Although I think he's just a feral ghoul. I don't think he does. But he talks about how we've got another one in the park. You need to get back out there. Why are you here? Not painted. You need to get out there and basically scare you, the player character. And he kind of explains sort of not all the backstory that you guys are talking about for the terminals. You have to get that off the terminals, but he gives a little bit of an indication that there's more to it than just a bunch of ferals.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Oswald realized, there's no way you can hurt Oswald with that, because it's as soon as you open the door, he immediately teleports away.
Yeah.
The Rachel information is not only acquired through the terminals, but I believe Oswald mentions her a couple different times, especially in the last showdown on the rooftop of the theater or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. And then, of course, if you haven't gone to find her, then you have no choice but to, I assume, to kill him. I don't know what the other ending is, because I didn't do it. So.
Do you run into him at the end of each one? Do you run into him again at the end of the funhouse?
Yeah.
Is he there?
Yeah.
After the spinning room and the head back.
Well, in the funhouse, you see him, I think, but I don't think you actually. He talks to you over an intercom, and I think you see him through a window or something, but you don't actually fight him or.
Oh yeah, he's looking down on you through the hallway. I remember that.
But I think if you have gone to Bradburton and found the holotape first before you go to the Magic Kingdom, you don't have to have any confrontations at all.
Oh,
you can
interesting.
At the very beginning, in the first meeting with him, you can
say, "Hey,
I found this here. She loves you. See you later."
Is that how you did it?
No, I blew his head off the first time. But then I read about her, and so that's when I went looking for her. And found the holotape, and then after in the final confrontation, you can do the same thing with him. You can convince him. It's a little harder, I think, but it takes more charisma, maybe.
I believe,
but
I don't even know if you need holotape, but I believe with high charisma, you can convince him to leave.
Oh, you can? Oh, okay. Maybe you can.
I'm not even sure if that's correct or not, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't remember if I've tried that with another character. Definitely not with this one.
Anyway, I enjoyed the story. I mean, it's a nice of the five. Are there 5 of these? Only 2 of them really have any kind of story at all, right? And I think this was the nicer of the 2. The other one's kind of a yawn, but anyway. We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
And anything exciting of the showdown in the theater?
Well, he's pretty powerful.
You walk into the first floor of the theater, and you have a conversation first, and then he starts sending waves and waves of leveled ghouls at you. It's like But I bringing in my Roundtable role into this. I actually started investing. I had a bunch of perks. I was just like, what the hell? I was not going to invest in more than just one into the Iron Fist perk. I was like, screw that. But I think we mentioned this on the show a week or 2 ago. We finally discovered that even though we thought that, God, what's that perk called, Pat, that I'm trying to think of right now?
Blitz.
The Blitz perk did not apply to unarmed. We thought it was only melee weapons, but then we finally figured out, oh wait, no, it will apply to my Power Fist. So I cashed in some Blitz, and then I maxed out my Iron Fist perk, and with everyone in such tight proximity, and I had a 10 in agility, so I'm getting lots of punches off, and plus I have the perk, I believe it's in the agility column, that has each I have the one in perception that is each concentric hit on each.
That's concentrated fire.
Concentrated fire does increase damage, but I also have the one that is each different aim, each different target, that increases damage as you go.
Yeah, that's the 9 or 10 agility. I forget the name of it, but yeah.
So
Gun Fu? No, that's the Gun Fu.
No, that is Gun Fu. You're right. That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh, are you thinking of Quick Hands?
No, I was thinking of Gun Fu because that's
No,
the
Quick
one
Hands
where
is
like
it.
on the 4th character you get on the 4th target you get a crit every time. I think that's Gun Fu.
There's 3 of them. In VETs, you instantly do a critical hit against your 4th target and beyond. Yeah, okay.
No, it's not that one. I thought there was one that like it increases damage each target. The more targets you hit, the more damage you do or something. I don't know. I thought there was something like that. But anyway, the combination I have has been really fun to play with the power fist I got from Swan, which is what is that the devastating power
Furious.
fist?
It's furious.
The furious power fist. So it's been really fun. But just to have all the proximity, all the enemies sort of like around the room. And you can, with the power fist and as much damage as you can do, you can like hit each ghoul twice, and then you get off enough shots with your agility and your AP meter that you can take out like a whole round, and it's just fun to load them all up, and then just watch the animation of zipping like 20 yards across the room, like ba-bam, 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 like step, like I don't know, it's just really fun to watch that. It's so. That's one thing that I've appreciated about this character. I've never played an unarmed or a close proximity character like that, but I feel like taking sort of some inspiration from Ray here a little bit, how he always likes to do his unarmed and his melee weapons and blitz and stuff like that. So this is a character that is very new and different to me, but this is how I'm sort of incorporating my roundtable role into it. It's been a new, fresh way to view the game so far. So I've been hammering that the last week or two.
Nice.
It's been fun.
Cool.
And I'm trying to use the new rifle too. What is it called? The 7.62.
The handmade.
Yeah, I've been trying to use that rifle a lot too, which is I find it very similar to the Combat 45. I'm sure it's different somehow, but
the clip on the handmade is amazing. It'll hold 75 with a max clip.
Oh God, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's a single shot.
Or automatic, either one. It's like the combat rifle. You can go either way with it. Single shot or same thing. Single shot, a lot more damage, or you can go automatic and
automatic receiver. Yeah.
I enjoy it probably because it's similar to the combat.
I prefer single shots. I mean,
that's what I do too. Yeah.
It seems to me. Am I incorrect in saying this? That there's more. There are more perks that are advantageous to single shot than there are to automatic weapons.
Well, yes, but it's maybe not working the way you're thinking about, because commando helps every automatic weapon.
Right.
Pistol, laser, plasma, ballistic. Whereas if you do the single shot, you have to specialize in either rifleman or gunslinger. But I agree with you. I prefer the single shots too.
I mean, I've taken all the points in both of those. So that's interesting.
But the other thing about, I don't know if you guys have noticed, the Nuka World armor and weapons, to get the max mods on those, you have to have 2 perks. Like it'll be like for the handmade, you have to have to get the max automatic receiver on the handmade rifle, you have to have max gun nut and max commando. And to get the best armor, you have to have max armor and max, like one of them you have to have like max pickpocket. It's the safe. There's something that does like safe cracking or something, and you have to have max lockpick or so. It's just weird combinations. I guess they've done it because they've made some of those so powerful. They throw another requirement on there.
Yeah, I haven't bothered running any of those. So.
The handmade rifle is awfully good if you're so inclined to mess around with it.
Yeah. So what raider group did you guys assign to the Magic Kingdom?
I went with my assigned group, the Disciples.
Ah, interesting.
I kill them all.
No, I'm my assigned group is the what's the third one? Not disciples, not the pack, the
Operators.
operators. Yeah. So, but no, I assigned the pack to the Magic Kingdom because I thought they fit in well there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna diss the pack. The pack is gonna be my whipping boys.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I think. Well, spoiler alert for the later show, but you have the 5 things, and then there's also, as you do the raider quest, you have to assign sort of winning. I think it's 8 opportunities to assign winners.
Okay.
Because there's the 5 parks and then 3 other things later in the game.
Yeah,
And,
the more you assign
Yeah.
one faction to, then the more they like you, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So,
yeah.
but it's done so that you have to have it. It's 8, so that at least one has to be a loser. You can go 4 and 4 and 0, or 3 and 3 and 2, or whatever.
Oh,
but,
I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So that loser takes on a special role later in the arc.
I found the disciples to be the most odious of the 3, so I decided to diss them the most.
I concur with that. In my sort of like my character that I sort of RP'd much more heavily than I am this character. I did the same thing. I thought I hated them the most.
Yeah. So I actually assigned them to our next location tonight, which is the bottling plant, because it seemed like the crappiest of them.
Yeah.
No, I love the bottling plant. It's fun.
Really? Oh God, I found that it's the most tedious of all 5.
Yeah, it's really crazy in there. Right before we head off to the bottling plant, you said you did not get the suit, Victor, because you sent him off. I just wanted to go over what the benefits of finishing here. Well, if you get Oswald's Tux, that is it ignores 15% of damage taken from humans. Also gives you +2 damage and energy resistance. The top hat itself gives you +10% movement speed, so that's fun.
Right.
That'll pair you up, Pat, with your leg.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, it's a cool. I kept. I'm not using it, but
Yeah.
kept
I this playthrough I'm just keeping everything and throwing it in a workbench and having it to fart around with later.
Yeah.
That also gives you the +2 damage and energy resistance. You get that sword that Victor mentioned earlier, the Sword of Wonders, it's called.
Yep.
It ignores 30% of your enemy's resistances, and it has 74 base damage and 17 energy damage on top of that. It is an electrified, serrated, penetrating legendary effect on the blade.
It's a pretty good weapon. If I had been a melee character, I probably would have kept it. But
I tend not to like the swords because I tend to like faster melees, like Throat Slicer or Pikmin's Blade.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is a good sword if you like that medium speed.
It says the true psychotics who like to use the blades, Pat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Cut.
Yep.
But to finish out the very end of the quest there, after you confront Oswald, either to send him away or if you battle him and defeat him, you have to turn off the rad mist sprayers. So you go to Oswald's terminal there, and you can turn off the. I assume you can do that, Victor, as well. When you send him away, does he give you the password, or is it something you have to crack? I don't even remember. Was it a locked terminal, or is it something you can just turn off?
I don't remember. I apologize.
Yeah.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, and there's one other thing. You can turn off the rad spray in the tunnels as well, but he turns it right back on. I don't know if you guys did that, but yeah, because the first time I went through, it's I can turn off this obnoxious spray, and then as soon as you get out of the tunnels, he comes on the intercom and said, "Oh no, I'm going to turn this back on."
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. Yes, yeah, that did happen.
What a jerk.
Yeah. That was a real jerk move there.
So now we can wander up to the Nuka plant, which I believe is just due north of the Kitty Kingdom a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. It's the next one up.
There's much less story involved here. There doesn't seem to be a main bad guy with a backstory and a girlfriend on the loose or anything. This is pretty much a straight tunnel run through lots of different levels of Mirelurks, which in this area are now called Nuka Lurks because
yes,
there's a river of Nuka Quantum running through the Nuka-Cola factory.
And I was so pissed when I first played this that when you fill a bottle from that, you don't get a Nuka-Cola Quantum.
That was the first thing I tried. I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
I'm going to
No,
come
really?
back.
I didn't even think of that, but
Yeah.
I just
I think you
assumed
get
that it
dirty
would.
water.
Yeah, that's too
You get
bad.
dirty water, which is so disappointing because I was like, sweet, I have a bunch of empty bottles here. Let's go start filling them up. And I had filled up like a few of them without even noticing. And like, wait, it's just giving me dirty water. What a waste.
Yeah.
I never use the stuff anyway. I mean, occasionally I'll drink a Nuka Cola if I'm really tired or something like that. But
The caffeinates, what? Can it give you more?
It overcomes tiredness temporarily.
yeah,
It has nothing to do with your adrenaline level, though.
Yeah.
no.
I like the Quantums because I'm such a VATS user. I'll sometimes pop a Quantum because it restores AP.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's great.
Yeah, I just figured, in survival when everything takes a long time to regenerate, if your health takes a while to regenerate, no matter what, whether you drink a Quantum or whatever, the stim packs are just as good as anything, and so I didn't even bother with all the flavors.
Yeah, there's lots of different ones.
There's like 23 or something. It's just crazy.
You can use.
Now some of the advanced ones have really powerful effects.
Yeah, I mean the ones with the recipes.
Yeah. When you start finding the recipes and start mixing the things and getting the advanced, like there's one I was playing around with earlier. I forget which one it is, but it restores 1,400 hit points.
Holy crap!
I don't think we've even discussed these recipes yet, Pat. Have we?
No, we haven't. And you start to. I found my first one in the Magical Kingdom.
Okay, I was going to ask where we start doing that.
I mean, they're all over, right? So it just happens.
Yeah, I think I have 6 or 7 of them. I haven't tried any of them. That's interesting to know, though. I'm gonna have to
just pick up all the Nukas that you see around the park, and then you can start playing around with them.
Yeah,
and you can build the Nuka machines in any settlement, including in the Commonwealth. So you can put them anywhere you've got your shit, if you want to.
So, like I said earlier, Marla is much more fond of Vim anyway, so she wouldn't be that interested in it. She likes the captain's
the one that tastes like fish.
It's got the fish oil in it. Yeah.
The slight aftertaste of fish.
that was one of my that was one of my favorite Far Harbor bits. The soda that tastes like fish.
Yeah, it's perfect for Mainers. Yeah.
So this, first of all, I'm surprised they have a functioning production line factory at an amusement park. Is that a normal thing?
Well, yeah, Hershey has it.
Yeah.
At the factory, the Hershey factory is at Hershey Park.
Totally.
I've never been. I didn't.
Well, I mean, it's not the only one, right? But I mean, there's
but it's there. That's it's Hershey, PA.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the headquarters. It's where they make the chocolate, man.
That's amazing. I would love to do the tour of the factory. And
I mean, I think the Nuka, the river of Quantum is very much based on the chocolate river at Hershey, right?
See, that drew up Willy Wonka to me because I haven't been to the Hershey tour. That's where the chocolate river idea comes from.
Yeah, well, maybe it does come from Wonka. I mean, Roald Dahl predate Hershey's amusement park?
I have no idea. He was what, 30s, 40s, 50s?
Yeah, it probably does. So yeah, maybe Hershey got their idea from.
Yeah, I think Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was. I'm pretty sure that was a '60s book. Because the sequel has Richard Nixon jokes in it. So the sequel, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, was definitely 70s.
Yeah.
So the river that runs through, it seems like it's like a mini world. The Nuka factory here. It seems like you walk through a little mini zone of each of the sections of the park. Does that make sense? Like there's a little section here that looks like the Old West. Here's one that looks like sort of like the Main Street USA. Here's one that looks like the Kitty Kingdom a little bit. Is that correct? There's like different little zones to it, right?
Yeah, they're sort of more based on the flavors, like Nuka Wild and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
there's some like animatronic mannequins and stuff. Like you could take outfits off of.
Yep, you can take all the outfits. Yeah.
Are there any? There's some like cool.
Well,
I remember
Marla's wearing one of the cowboy hats from that she's
nice.
ballistic armored up to the wazoo.
Great.
And yes, so that's
That's fun. I want to put ballistic weave on those cappy glasses.
oh god, they're freaking cappies. No, I refuse.
I haven't done that at all.
Yeah.
Well, I had to do that with my other character just because it's a callback to Fallout 3. So I had to give in to doing the cappy ones with my first character.
Okay, I've only found one of them.
Most of them aren't that hard. There's a couple that are tricky, but it's not that hard to do if you ever get the urge just to do it from a completist perspective.
Yeah, I guess I should, but I found the one in the hedge maze by accident.
Yeah.
Fuck that maze.
Yeah, that's
I love
another one.
mazes.
That's another one I did the jumping armor for the jump.
Oh, really?
The jump.
Oh, perfect, Pat. That is so smart.
See, I'm really good at mazes, so I love maze puzzles. So that just sort of
I had the bull head pack helmet on, and I was running around through the maze. And I was like, wait a second, I feel like a minotaur in the maze.
That's perfect. I love it.
The Minotaur was in a labyrinth, not a maze, though, so it's a little difference.
Close enough.
Yeah,
it's the Nuka World equivalent.
And then there's also, you're talking about the cappies, there's also the medallion fetch quest as well.
Yeah, there's like 5 medallions you have to collect.
7 or 5 or something. Yeah.
I thought there was one for each section of the park.
Well, I thought there's a couple of, like, is there one in the arcade? I was thinking 7. I don't remember. I did it with my other character, but I'm not going to bother doing it again. That's one of those, like, do it once. What do you need to do?
Did you guys find Nuka Lurks harder than Meyer Lurks? I was having a tougher time.
I think they're a little tougher. Yeah,
they are tougher. In fact, I'm being pursued by one right now.
I did a lot more running than I'm used to with Meyer Lurks.
I snuck, and that was actually my notes for tonight. Is that I don't think they ever found me at all. I don't think they ever noticed me at all. I was very successful with my sneaking in the river of Coca-Cola or Nuka-Cola.
Hey guys, there is off to the right side as you're progressing down the latter half of the sort of like tunneling of the Nuka River. There is locked behind a security gate a set of power armor there. I assume is it a Nuka-Cola power armor set?
I don't remember if it's Nuka-Cola or not. I did not take time to figure out how to get it.
The first time I ran through there, I did not either. I thought that I was trying to go through. See, there's these little scenes, the animatronic scenes. There's like it seems like one sort of like a phosphate stand, and there was one like a doctor or something. I remember picking a lab coat off of one of the animatronics for some reason. But there's doors in those animatronic scenes that if you go back behind, you can get back behind the scenes and stuff. And I thought that I explored as much as I could, but I still couldn't figure out how to pop open that security door the first time through. But after you go through and you complete everything, and
sorry about the background noise, guys. All right.
No, you're fine. You complete the whole thing and you leave. And I was just running around. I decided to go back through to see if I could figure out how to get that power armor. And when I got to it, the door was standing open. What did I do? Do you remember, Pat?
I don't. I did it with my other character, but I didn't with this one, and I forgot the trick.
And I was just there, but then the game locked. And so I had to reboot. That's why you heard the theme music in the background there. So I can't go look right now.
Do you find you get more freezes as your character gets higher level?
No. Load times have gotten significantly longer, but the one time that the game locks like that on me is if I'm moving and it has to do with hitting something and VATS at the same time, and it'll lock. It just froze.
Oh, VATS.
But generally, it's been incredibly stable. That's another reason why I'm up in the 70s. This game, I haven't fussed with the mods a whole lot. I've added a little bit here and there, but nothing really serious. I've pretty much kept the mods exactly as they were when I started.
Wow.
I've had maybe 3 of those. I can only sort of characterize them as audio crashes where the game going, I've only had like 3 of those, and those are total crashes. The game will just crash right out. But the lockup, it just freezes and just sits there, and you have to sort of go, hit the Xbox button and go back to the desktop.
Considering the horrible amount of script issues that my game is having, where I can't, do anything, assign people or progress in the main quest and all that sort of stuff, I'm having relatively few crashes compared to.
Well, that's good.
Other, I don't know what's up with that, but
I by the way, I have the water bug, but only the water bug. I have 70 water production in Sanctuary, but it's not giving me anything. But everything else is working. My farming is working. I can assign settlers. So, Andrew, I'm having what you're having, but not as significant a version of it.
The good old days when it was just water and not my food, and then my settlers, then everything.
Well, then that's something like, if it were a problem for me, I would have no qualms about just grabbing some water from the cheater mod in this case, because I should be cranking out 70 water. I don't know if it's a day or a week or whatever, but I should be cranking out a shitload of purified water, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, I've just turned down using the survival options. I just turned down the frequency about how often I have to drink water.
Yeah, there's any number of ways that that's the cheater mod will also just give you any item you want. So you can the same thing. I had an issue really early where I just lost a piece of my power armor. I was just doing my shit and and I came back to Sanctuary and I took off my power armor like I always do to repair it and do my maintenance and everything, and there was an arm missing, and it was where did the arm go? so I figured, okay, that was some kind of weird bug. So I just magicked myself back the replacement arm because I wasn't gonna worry about it and replay the area just because of a glitch,
So let's go ahead and wrap up the Nuka-Cola plant. I repeat, there's not much of a story or anything. You're fighting lots of Nuka.
There's some. I agree, it's not story, but I mean, you get those gunners, right? You run into those gunners. So there is a bit of
Well, and you got a Mirelurk queen you got to deal with.
Yeah.
And so it's tough on the outside too. And there's lots of Nuka lurks to deal with. And they come back because I'm fighting them again right now. And honestly, of the 5 locations, this was the hardest flagpole to find. It took me a while because I'm an idiot. I couldn't find it, but other than that,
I actually had trouble. I had no trouble on the inside because, like I said, I was able to sneak. On the outside, I actually had more trouble with the what is it? The hunters or whatever. The ones that look like crayfish.
Oh yeah, the hunters.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I had more trouble with them than I did because the queen. I mean, they spit that acid and everything, but they're so slow moving and they're so big.
Right. Yeah.
And what I did with the queen is I just laid down some bottle cap mines and then kited her over the bottle caps, and it was actually pretty trivial.
Yeah, I drop some Med-X too because that helps with poison resistance.
Yeah.
I never think to use mines. I really need to incorporate that
I've been using. Actually, that's another one of the perks that I've taken a couple of levels in with Marla is Demolition Expert because it really helps for any build. I think at least 1 or 2 points in that is a big deal to get the throwing arc. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And a little extra power on the grenades are pretty awesome.
Because you can, if you get I forget if you need science and demo expert, but you can eventually get to where you can build the plasma and the plasma grenades. Those are awfully nice because they do ballistic. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just they're not, because they do ballistic and then they throw some electrical damage on top of it, which is good against robots.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I've tried a few, but there's so many frag grenades lying around the world, and they really do a lot of damage anyway. So I haven't really felt the need to mess around with any other kind of grenades.
Yeah.
I mean, a well-placed frag grenade will take out almost half the health of a behemoth.
Yeah.
So it's not even, but as you say, for robots, maybe it's a different story. You want the plasma or something.
Yeah. So I'm looking at because I went ahead and took all 4 dots of demo expert. So I'm doing 432 with frag grenades.
Oy.
And then let's see, I don't have a plasma grenade in my inventory to check, but it's like 500 and something with the plasma grenades.
Yeah, wow.
And my bottle cap mines are like 600, and the bottle cap mines are awesome too. So
yeah, they are. They've saved my life on several occasions.
And what's funny is you don't need caps to make them, and so you actually you get you can pick up that little random pile of caps. I remember, Victor, one of the you pointed that out like a long time ago on an earlier roundtable, that little pile of caps is really nice because it just sort of pops up, and you don't have to. You can just click once and the whole pile comes in.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. So is the Red Rocket on the only actual sort of quote settlement in Nuka World?
That's the only one I found.
Yeah, it is the only one. Yeah.
That's the only workbench.
That's right. Yeah, there are other places that you might or might not consider a settlement, but yeah, that's right. It's the only workbench.
Yeah,
so it's the only place you can actually build stuff.
I believe.
I think that is right. Yeah.
No, can you build? No, I bet you I had. I was going to say, because I was building on the Fizz Top Mountain, that balcony area, but I believe that I had that mod where you toss down the duffel bag and then you can turn it into a.
Is that Chesco's or Arthmore's? Yeah, that's actually I have that loaded, but I've never used it.
I was using that. That's why I was. So no, in the vanilla game, all you can do is the Red Rocket, I believe.
Yeah,
but you can get early access to that, like I mentioned earlier, if you kill all the raiders immediately.
But you need to turn the power on, right?
No, I haven't turned the power on yet.
And you have access to it? Because I just found it. That's why I was asking, and I tried to access the workshop, and it says the workshop can't be used until Nuka World has power.
But you're doing things for the raiders.
I am. I haven't killed them.
Killed all of them already. That's the other way to get access to that.
I see. Okay.
Is just to go ahead and kill all of the 4 raid leaders, the 3 leaders, and then the husband guy.
This will happen soon.
Yes, do it.
I wanted to explore the rest of Nuka. I mean, of the map. I've gone around and done the hubology stuff and the other sort of random locations, which are fun. I like the hubologists.
I'm
that was great. I love them too. Yeah.
I know they're not on our schedule, so we can totally discuss them and a little bit here or in depth whenever. But I'm stuck on the spot there because at one point they say you have to turn on the power of the park first.
No, that's localized. I think. I believe the hubologist power is specific to their like little site. I don't think you have to have the park.
I thought they meant the park.
No. I'm not sure. It's been too long. Victor, do you remember?
No, because I've gone through it. I don't have the park power on yet. I went through the whole thing.
Okay, I must need to turn their power on.
I think it's localized to just where they.
You have to get parts for something, and you bring them, and then you go up and go to the landfill or whatever they call it, the junkyard there.
Yeah.
So
the junkyard.
Have you done it before, Andrew?
A while back. You know what I mean?
So I wouldn't be spoiling anything to say.
No.
You want to make sure that you use 3 fusion cores and not 4.
Remind me what's the.
Well, if you use 4, it's a little overwhelming, shall we say, and nobody survives.
Blow up.
Yeah.
I was a little annoyed by that because I thought, oh, there's 4 slots. 4 has got to be better, right? So
Right.
yeah.
I think there's somewhere they tell you, right?
Oh, probably.
I think
I'm sure I
if it's
ignored it.
I don't know if it's a dialogue box or a terminal or whatever, but at some point you get clued in the right. And of course, I did it both ways just to see what happened. The explosion is pretty cool.
Yeah,
You got to do it the right way.
Now the hubologists are obviously a Scientology
yes,
a Scientology parody, but they also are a callback to either 1 or 2. The hubologists are in one of the early games.
Oh, nice.
Which I as I said before, I haven't played those, but I've read some of the lore, and they're an early callback.
That's fun. That's cool. I like it when they do that. Not that I know the world nearly as well as you or Dennis, but
there's some
that's
traders
fun.
out there too. There's a little trader outpost way out near on that side of the map.
If you go to the far south of the map too, there's a guy I think sitting on top of a trailer.
Yep.
Or something.
Yeah, I like him. He's cool.
Yeah. Do you guys know the backstory for that guy?
No, not at all. I just saw the location. I was like, ooh.
The character is based on the character that you meet is based on the brother of a Fallout fan who I forget exactly how he made his story known, but basically he contacted Bethesda and sort of wrote Bethesda kind of a touching little note about his brother, and Bethesda was sort of so taken by the story they wrote his brother, who is deceased, into the story. So that guy you meet on the trailer who gives you everything is based on a real life person who's the deceased brother of a Fallout fan, and apparently the sort of very giving nature of that character is based on exactly the character of the real life person.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's a really sweet. There's a video about it. If we'll have to look for it and maybe post it in the Facebook group or something. But yeah, it's a nice little story. I mean, it's a really nice little thing that Bethesda did to honor this fan. It's kind of a random thing, but it was really nice.
Nice.
That's so cool that they did that. That's
right. And we got Paul Benjamin sitting over in the chat here. So Paul, thanks for joining. I just went over and checked the chat and noticed he had been in here for a bit. So
that's great. Thanks.
Appreciate him popping over and hanging out with us for a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of Paul, next week we will have a feedback episode, and Paul has submitted some feedback, so we'll definitely be checking in with him. Also, we will hear from Jeremy. Lee has sent in 2 submissions. We'll also hear from Leon, and Ray sent in some stuff. We'll also check in an email from Benoit. I totally meant to read that 2 episodes ago, and then the last episode, and then this episode. It was all about our structures tab that Victor helped me solve. There's actually...
Oh, you fixed it?
Yeah, off the top of your head, Victor, can you remember the name of that mod?
Yeah, sure I can, Andrew. It's that mod that fixed your structures tab. That's the one, yeah.
It's something similar to Universal
something like that. Yeah, Universal Menu Fixer or something. I'm not at the PC, otherwise I could pull that up immediately. Sorry.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to mention really quickly that this the mod author leaves many snarky, chiding remarks built within the mod.
Oh no.
Chiding people for, and this idiot is why, you dummy, do not, idiot, delete mods, stupid face, in the middle of a gameplay, stupid fucker.
Yeah, well,
dumb.
Mod authors can be entitled assholes too.
Yeah, so. And I was like, wait a second. Listen to my specific scenario, you mother screwer. The snap and build was deleted from the Xbox Bethesda site. I had no control over that. I did not delete the mod, you stupid motherfucker.
Well, but wait a minute, because I have snap and build loaded, and you'd have to have updated something, because I haven't had any problems with it at all.
I went and I checked and see if I could update it, and it was sort of like blacked out in my mod order, so I was like, I couldn't access it. And then when I went to update it or whatever, it sort of like kept kicking me off of the menu.
That's what you did wrong. Yes, you shouldn't have bothered to. You shouldn't have tried to update it. That's probably what happened.
was not accessible anyway. It wouldn't let me activate it. It was deactivated, and it wouldn't let me activate it, and it was grayed out. Like the icon was sort of gone.
Oh, so you hadn't loaded it into that game, but you had downloaded it? Because see, it's working fine in my game, but it does show there's no icon for it anymore because the mod is gone. But and it's gone from Nexus too, by the way. He completely deleted it from everything.
Oh wow.
Then Wasson, he went and looked and said it was gone everywhere, but it so. And
I read up on some Reddit threads about it and stuff, and
so
there's no real explanation as to why he did. It had problems in the past, and I remember because I used it. I started using it when it first appeared, which is not long after November 2015, and it had been up and down a couple times, and maybe he just got sick of all the crap and sick of dealing with it, and just said, "Screw this," and just dumped the whole thing. He posted somewhere that he was going to explain, and then he never did. So it's been gone since April, I think.
So that was the root of the cause of it. But anyway, thank you for the mod suggestion, and that helped my structures tab come back. So
yay.
Yeah, I'm glad for that. I can build stuff, even though I can't assign settlers to do anything. And that brings up another mod. I suggest everyone check out Sim Settlements. What I've been trying to do with Sim Settlements is I was like, oh crap, maybe I'll try to build the robots and assign the robots to them, but not even the robots will take. Like I can't assign anyone to anything. So
that's too bad.
I can't really experience Sim Settlements, so I'm going to load it on an older character just so I can play around with that.
Yeah, I looked at Sim Settlements and I saw how much like setup you have to do. It's like even that amount of setup. I don't care what my settlements look like. I like them to be very functional. So I had to do my adhesive farm and my stores and the yada yada. But I don't care if they look ugly. So I
honestly, you don't have to do a lot of setup, Pat. I haven't done hardly anything. You just sort of it appears in your specials tab in the build menu, and you just sort of build it. And there's a couple things you have to have a certain number of houses in order to build a commercial property, but essentially you can just throw stuff in and it'll be fine.
Victor, were you a SimCity player at all?
Oh God, the SimCity 1, yes, but I mean way back, but not since then.
I'm not sure if it's the same mechanic in the original SimCity, but I know in 2 you could just click on a square and then sort of drag, and it would like expand in a square and like get a whole bunch of different area at once. You didn't have to assign just one square at a time. Is there a way to snap these together?
Yeah, they'll snap together when you in a row.
That out. I was just like having to lay individual ones. I couldn't like expand them. I kept trying to like click one and drag it, or
that may have more to do with where you were placing them than anything. I mean, it's just a matter of collisions and snap, snap locations that the game assigns.
Anyway, I got to load a different character and really play with that, because I've seen lots of people recently, especially.
It's a great mod. It's one of those mods that's beautifully crafted and also incredibly well supported. I mean, the guy, I think it's King Gath, is the mod author. He's got a YouTube channel and he posts videos for all his updates and explains how to do stuff. I mean, it's just it's really well done. Yeah. That's
great. So, hey guys, do you have any closing thoughts for the evening?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Victor, thanks for jumping on. Great to hear about Marla's adventures.
Yeah, it was fun. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so thank you for letting me come on.
And please feel free to come back anytime you would like to. We can chat off on the side, and please feel free to come back whenever you wish.
I appreciate that.
And we got, as Andrew said, we got a lot of good feedback queued up for next episode, but doesn't mean we won't take more. So if you if you're playing along and have it written in, or dropped us a voice memo from your phone or whatever, please let us hear from you.
Yep. Next
Okay.
week is going to be, we're going to try to shut our own faces up so we can get through all of the feedback. Lots of feedback to get through, and a King of the Bunker Hill episode if there's time. So we've got a lot to get through next week. So lots of feedback will be on June 8th. So everyone.
Well, I'll stay off the episode because God knows I like to hear myself talk. So.
And then on June 15th, we will start session 4, where we will go over the grand tour, High Noon at the Gulch, and Safari Adventure. So those 2 sections. Gosh, we're not going to get to Nuka World until not Nuka World, the Galactic Zone, until the damn end of the quest. The whole project here.
Yeah.
Before we sign off for the evening, I know we've had a little tradition of, and it stinks that Denny's been having to hop off the show so frequently. I really like it when Dennis is on the show. He brings a lot, and it just stinks that with his work schedule, and then he's been sick a few times here recently. But again, we have before we sign off, I'd like to just check in with Denny's Podcatcher Correspondence Corner. So from AMC 4x4, he says, great group. The Roundtable is a fantastic idea and well executed. These guys are personable, know so much about Fallout. It's great listening to them discuss my favorite game. You can tell the community is solid too. Every episode is like settling down with a bunch of my good friends and having a great chat about gaming. Highly recommended. So thank you so much, AMC 4x4, for that kind review. If you would like your iTunes review read on the air, please select 5 stars and review us over there at iTunes. And you could be our featured on Denny's Podcatcher Correspondence Corner.
Nice.
Pat, thank you so much for hopping on the show this evening.
Andrew, thanks for getting us together. Enjoyed it as always.
Victor, it's always a wonderful pleasure to speak with you.
Always a slice.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Bye, y'all.
Night all.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, the Askyrimaddictpodcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
We'll see you in the wasteland, but we'll also see you at the Philadelphia Podcast Festival on July 16th, everybody, at 5 p.m. at Tattooed Mom.
Darn tootin'.
Rootin' tootin'.
Hope to see everyone there.